One, two, three, four, five. Hello, everyone. I am so sorry about my terrible voice. I never warmed it up today. I'm very sorry about that. And I woke up very early. I woke up so early. Well, not super early. In fact, yesterday I woke up around 4. Okay, very early. So, this video is obviously going to be about gatekeeping. Yes, gatekeeping. And why um, is it kind of important to gatekeep sometimes? And I'm going to be talking about this in the context of shows and series, because what's going on with a lot of the ranks, basically. Basically, fans have been attacked by mainstream media. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean, okay? Let me show you what I mean. What's this? What's this? The Guardian. Oh, the Guardian. Guardian, guys, the Guardian. Now, we all know about the Guardian. If you actually dabble in some kind of political aspects, we do know about the Guardian. And, they are basically, you know, okay, without even reading the article or even the headline, it's from the Guardian. You have some prediction that it's going to be a woke fest of an article. Okay. Uh, in this week's okay, whatever. One of the most eye-catching moments of this year's Super Bowl, alongside all-time classic halftime show, is a cutaway shot to the mind-bogglingly massive intestine-shaped infinity screen pulsing away. Now, here's the thing: I don't watch the Super Bowl. It's an American thing, not a South African thing. I don't really worry that much about it. I know sports are important, but sports are becoming so woke as well. Even South African sports, they're forcing us to take the knee and crap. You know. Okay, basically the okay teaser. Okay, beamed into 100 million households in the U.S. as well as the rest Middle Earth via YouTube. In terms of attracting eyeballs, okay, 257 million people around the world watched the teaser. What? Holy crap, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Okay, that's a lot of people. That's so much of people. Dig a little deeper, or rather scroll down the comment section of that YouTube video, and that looks dramatically less rosy. There you find variations of the same quote incorrectly attributed to Token, posted over and over again in Russian, Czech, Portuguese, and Polish. Even is unable to create anything new. It can only distort and destroy what has been invented or created by the forces of good. Yeah, if you check that trailer, read the comment section. Read the comment section, and you will see, um, you will see so much of people commenting the same thing, and obviously mean well, because if you look at this trailer, it's just full of woke stuff. And the main trailer, which has like 30 something million views, it has more dislikes than likes as of this stream. Um, so obviously, okay. So they are surprised. They are surprised that a lot of fans are disliking it. And I feel so annoyed that YouTube took dislikes out, because it's only helping these corporations. Like, it's only helping these corporations. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is the article, not that one. This one. I wanted to read this one. I was wondering, wait a minute, did I read that? So that was just people noticing it. But here is the ice cream on top of the cone. The history of fantasy is racialized. A lot of the Ryan series sparked debate over race. Now here's the thing: I have no offense to any of the actors or actresses. Um, I have no problem with their skin tone. It's just that in the series, um, in the series, many of these different species are portrayed as white or fair skin. You know, so what they basically bring in these actors and actresses for, these black ones in particular, is to obviously shove identity politics. They're not doing it to be all nice to others. They're not doing it with a nice intent. Please hear me out. They are not doing it for a nice intent. They are doing it for their own political agenda. Because these days, it sucks that people from different skin tones are just used for political points. That's it. They're not used for a good story. They're not used for like any good story. If the actor or actress was good and they played a good role in this movie, or in the not movie, the series. Sorry, I keep mixing it up. In the series, if they play a good role, that's perfect. You know, and I'm sure these actors and actresses are good. You know, but it's like they were only hired for the sake of diversity. You know. Okay, a tech giant has spent a dragon's dungeon of gold. Yes, a tech giant, guys. Just a simple old tech giant. No, it's Amazon. Amazon. Uh, so basically, we skip a bunch of stuff talking about the money and stuff. By the way, they spent almost 600 million. No, not million. Was it million? Was it million? Yeah, million. Almost a billion. Almost $1 billion. Almost $1 billion on just the first few episodes, I guess. It's insane, you know? And they plan 5 seasons. I wonder how they're gonna go with this, you know? So they basically talk about the evil, cannot create comments. Others were more blunt. They talk about the different type of comments. Yeah, because, okay, here we go. Amazon decided to destroy Tolkien's work because why do a good job when you can just corrupt and force your political beliefs, stated another. It's tempting to dismiss the complaining as a usual internet nerd range. Ah, yes, guys, you guys are just nerds. You're just nerds. These people calling you nerds, I kind of doubt they were the jocks of the high school. You know, the people, like, that nerd is not an insult. Nerd is a good thing. It's not an insult. Maybe if you're in high school, that's an insult, but you're not, you're not really insulting anyone with nerd in regular current times because it has no value. You know, nerd means smart. You know, geek means you're into all this type of fantasy stuff. But okay, actors of color started taking new major roles in Star Wars products. Here's the thing: people didn't hate them because of the Star Wars stuff. They just hated them because of the characters were bland. The characters they played was very bland. You know, they didn't hate them because of their skin tone, you know. Just pointing that out because I don't watch Star Wars, but I watch a lot of Star Wars content creators, and they talk about these POC. I don't like saying the term POC, but they talk a lot about these POC characters, and they say how some of them, not all of them, but some of them were bland, mostly in the sequels, you know. Okay, Jeff Bezos, okay, the richest man in the world, and there's YouTube a place for every dork. Oh, dork. I remember when that used to be a insult. Back when I used to watch Ed, and Eddie, that used to be a really good insult. Dork who likes to complain about pop culture and whose darker corners are frequently haunt of racism and bigotry. The bigotry, guys, the bigotry. So of course, YouTubers complaining about fan mistreatment have hundreds and thousands, sometimes millions of subscribers. Inevitably, these fans are devoted to movies, TV shows, and comics from their childhood, and many are constantly on the watch for a new vision that might expand the role of women and add characters of color or include characters who aren't straight. If I make a book, series which includes a lot of gay characters, which I do have, which I'm currently working on, not my horror or children's book, but the other stuff I have in the background. Like, I am working on different characters, also with my visual novels, also with uh, quite a lot of things. In fact, one of my first ever visual novel idea was supposed to be about a lesbian character. This was back in 2018. And even then, I thought of a different visual novel idea that's supposed to have a lesbian, no, a trans character as well. And then finally I stuck with a different visual novel idea. Flowers are the beauty. I'm sure many of you may have heard of this if you watch my channel from the old days. Basically, that character, the main character, is a lesbian. Um, it's like, here's the thing. If my work has these characters, it has it. That's it. It's canon. But if you just go planting all of your woke stuff in it, it doesn't make sense. If the original canon had these characters, then it's totally fine. But what these people are trying to do is trying to put their politics into it. They're not just going to have a gay character and give them personality. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to put it in there for the sake of Twitter, for the sake of pleasing Twitter people. They spend a lot of time on Twitter. They don't want things to be about a different reality. Like, Middle Earth is not real world, okay? Our world, the world we live in, it's mixed with emotions. It has so much in and out, good and bad. We don't live in a world like Middle Earth with fantasy and magic and all the type of stuff. We don't live in stuff like that. We live in the real world, and the real world sometimes it needs some kind of show or something to make us focus on something else. So when we're done from our dark days, we can focus on some happy stuff. And what they're trying to do is trying to make Middle Earth based on the modern age, which doesn't make any sense because the modern age is totally different. The modern age where we live in, it has nothing to do with Middle Earth. Middle Earth's supposed to be about fantasy. The real world is not fantasy. It's messed up. You know. Um, in human terms, being the target of right-wing hate campaigns. You notice how it's always right-wing hate campaigns and never left-wing hate campaigns or other type of campaigns. Oh, it's just the right-wingers. Those pesky right-wingers. I doubt most of the people complaining are right-wingers. Jeremy from the Quartering, he's not a right-winger. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, he's not a right-winger, and he's complaining about this. There are plenty of people who are complaining about this, and they are not right-wingers. Gary from Not Erotic, I don't think he is a right-winger. Just some guy. I don't think he's a right-winger. He criticized both right and left. He's not a right-winger. It's like you paint this coat on us, on like everyone is right-wing. Really. Like, most of these geek channels are full with people from different political spectrums, mostly going from like libertarian to somewhat right. They're not far right whatsoever. The extremely of the protest is unrealistic. Presence of a black dwarf princess feels silly, considering the stories themselves are about wizards, magics, and the occasional dragon. Oh, don't you just love this argument? Don't you just love this argument? If I have an entire cast of characters that are brown skin, okay, let's just say then my in one of my stories, there's brown skin characters. Okay, there's brown skin characters, and there's also a dragon. Okay, let's just say there's a dragon and brown skin characters. What gives you the right to now put light skin characters in? Like, what gives you that right? This is the same what I'm saying is just the vice versa of what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that, oh, just because I clicked something wrong, just because it has wizards and dragons, obviously you can have darker skinned people, obviously you can have different races, obviously you can have all these type of woke agenda, right? Obviously you can have stuff like that, because come on, guys, come on. It has dragons, obviously we can slide in some woke agenda. Come on, guys, let's put in some woke agenda. It's the user's excuse just for everything. It's like, here's the thing, it is what it is. Even if it has fair people in it and dragons, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. Why is it so hard for them to accept it? They complain about us accepting these type of characters, these woke characters, but they don't even accept the regular law themselves. You know. Okay. The history of fantasy is racialized, uh, says Ebony Thomas. She says people are used to seeing fantasies and fairy tales as all white because it did originate from Europe. It did originate from Europe. Yes, you can still make your own fantasy world that's with European buildings and European castles and European lands with dark skinned characters. You can still do that. You know, you can still do that. But certain people's work is just going to be filled with whites because that's just how they portray their work to be. Like why is Snow White white? Oh yeah, particular in fox medieval or magical medieval settings. Thomas explains, we're taking them out of the dream space. We're taking them out of how they imagine it could be, and so it feels off to them. So that's why they are saying, who are these people? This is not what Tolkien intended. It's not accurate. Well, it didn't intend that. Some people were saying that there is an entire different continent that could have dark skinned people, which they could have done something about that, I guess. But obviously, they're going to take the easy route in and put the wokeness in, okay? Of course, if you're willing to go back to the poems and legends that inspired Tolkien, you'll definitely find characters who are not white. But if Tolkien wanted his work to just have like the elves to be fair skinned or the dwarves to be dwarf women to have beards, then that's how he wanted, right? Now, some people were pointing out he never said these elves supposed to be fair skinned. I don't know if that's true or not, so I'll take that with a grain of salt. But anyways, I'll just take that with a grain of salt. You know, a lot of fake facts come in and stuff. You don't really know what to trust, so it's best to take everything with a grain of salt. Uh, Even grain of salt. Take grains of salt with grains of salt. Okay. Um, Moving on. I feel like I yell too much for my voice. I sound like I'm screaming. Okay. Okay, so he bring up some other stuff. But despite that, it's a fraught time to be adapting anything with even a hint of nonsense into it. American fascist organizations. Oh, here we go with the fascism. The fascism, guys. Did you know the fascism? The fascism of Norse iconography, public in Leo, of more easily recognized swastikas and Confederate flags. American European heritage groups are obsessed with Norse gods and ruins. These groups are often violent, and when they rally behind a symbol, the people they target turn away from it. Are you going to mention Pan-Tifa? Just saying, because did you know that the swastikas was a symbol in Hinduism? Does it mean that all Hindus are now racist? No. The swastika's symbol was in Hinduism first. Hitler just stole it, you know? Anyways. Okay. Thomas, who loves Tolkien, doesn't think so, and she points out that the notoriously restrictive Tolkien estate doesn't think so either. The reason why the Tolkien estate is so restrictive is because they don't want it to mistreat what Tolkien worked on. You know, if you wrote a story about cats eating food every day, you wouldn't want it to be about cats all of a sudden going to space now, would you? You wanted to stick to the script of how we written it, you know? Tolkien's official interpreters are far less concerned with the uniform pigmentation amongst the cast than they are with making sure that the new show doesn't touch the potential lucrative events of the Silmarillion. Okay? The question, Thomas says, it's not merely of accuracy, but authenticity. I can't even say it. Okay? And given that the race is an arbitrary concept anyway, it's not okay. So someone woke admits that's okay. Someone woke admits that race is an arbitrary construct. So can we stop with this BLM stuff? Can we stop with segregation in America? Can we stop with CRT now? How okay. My ancestors have been here speaking English for 10 generations, says. It's not the case that some people who are not from Anglo-American culture are suddenly demanding representation. We've been here for centuries. We've been existing. Yeah, no shit, okay? Um, that's another thing that's another you if they don't get the diversity character, you know? Like, I've barely written characters for my own my ancestor racial background. I barely written them. Maybe like one or two characters, and that's it. Like, that's it. I've written mostly white characters, black characters. That's it. That's literally it. I have not written more than that. I've made new alien species and stuff like that, and that's it. I've never written like more into different type of stuff. I don't even remember writing Hispanic characters. I don't remember writing that. Now, am I going to be cancelled for not writing those type of characters? You know, it's like you have to go through every single race now to look and to see if you have these type of characters. Now, there's nothing wrong with diversity. It's just that the way these SJWs want you to bow down to diversity. Now, the title itself of this live stream is about gatekeeping, and the thing is that I don't like being rude. I like people enjoying something or trying out something for the first time. When it comes to Monster Hunter, literally today early morning, I was talking to someone on Raging Golden Eagles live stream. I was talking to someone, and I was telling them about Monster Hunter Rise. I was recommending them Monster Hunter Rise on Switch. Also, I was also talking about the other Monster Hunter games as well. I was recommending it to them. I recommend the games to a lot of people. Even when I was a kid, I was recommending it to them, to one of my friends. And I was always recommending it to people. And it's like, here's the thing. If people are gonna be bad with certain things, obviously, if people are gonna treat your work as bad stuff, then wouldn't you not want them in? There is a little what do you call it? A pattern. There are memes on this. Unfortunately, I don't have the meme up, but basically, it's a four pattern cycle. Let me try and sum it up for you. But anyways, it's a four pattern cycle on how these SJWs invade your shows, your series, and all that type of stuff. It's how they invade. Here we go. So step one. Okay. How do I describe it? So you get these SJWs. They want to get in certain fandoms, so they come in. They are welcomed in with open arms. Welcomed in. Now, we don't know the SJWs. We just welcome anyone in, And then they complain about something. They complain about something not being inclusive, Then that thing is changed. That same thing they complained about is changed. For them, specifically for them. Then the SJWs lose interest. Then you complain about them, and then they complain about you. I think it goes along the lines complain. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Well, that's in my own words. That's my adaptation on how the SJWs infiltrate. There is a proper version which I need to find. Okay. Oh my goodness. Jeff Bezos' new Lord of the Rings shows angering fans because it has black dwarfs. Seriously. Yes, guys, it's angering them because of black dwarfs, not because it's going to be an identity politic crap show, not because it's basically ignoring plenty parts of the law, not because they're literally basing it off a series that they don't have rights for. Yes, they're basing it off the Silmarillion. They don't have rights for that. So how are they going to do this? I don't know. They literally admitted it on Vanity Fair. No thanks. No thanks. Can I just she, please? Okay. Studio sparked uproar after all-white, heavily male cast in previous depictions made way for more inclusive storytelling. Yes, it's not like even with the other white cast of the Lord of the Rings movie. It's not like that was inclusive enough. Oh no, we gotta go more deeper than that. Rather than the image of Galadriel in dress in a ethereal gossamer, I can't even say it, gown in Peter Jackson chose for his trilogies. The lady was instead portrayed charging a field. Basically, they get into this basically into this muscular version of Galadriel. And in the books, what I've heard is that you know what fans are saying is that she does not wear armor like that. And the things they portraying her in this is she doesn't do that in the books because guess what? Amazon is just making stuff up because they don't own the rights to many things. The lady was portrayed, yeah, she was portrayed as in full armor. Like, why? Why? Why though? Why? As if she wasn't strong enough without the armor. She was pretty strong without the armor. But hey, girl power, they say. Let's shove the woman up with armor. That that gives them power, right? Racism and misogyny. Everything is racist and everything misogynist. Everything these days. Okay, this is an interesting paragraph. But casting multicultural actors isn't at all contrary to the author's underlying theme of disparate peoples joining to overcome the hardship. Luke Shelton, a medievalist scholar and editor in the chief of Molon, I can't even say these words. The Token Society. The Token Society got woke, right? Tells Fortune, adding that he personally stopped it. Academic researchers have debated the undertones of institutional racism in Tolkien's work. Okay. So, are we going to talk about the institutional racism in Nigerian movies, in Bollywood movies, in Asian movies, in Korean movies? Like, they have 100% Korean cast in Korean movies. Why? Why is that? Why is that not a problem for the people? They complain about a European show if it has 100% white cast. They'll complain about it. Where's the diversity? They freaking cry. But when it comes to these other shows, you know, made from different ethnicities, they don't say a word. Basically, it is obviously hierarchy. They do believe that, only white countries should portray diversity and other countries should not. Now, I don't mind whatever country, whatever the shows have. Like, for example, Nigerian, they can have 100% Nigerian cast. I don't mind. I don't mind whatsoever. I don't. That doesn't bother me. But what I'm trying to point out is they don't criticize stuff. They'll criticize your work if it's European, but they will not criticize other countries' works if it's 100% Asian or 100% African. They won't criticize that. Obviously, I have no problem with 100% Asian, 100% African. I'm just pointing out. I'm just pointing out the fact that they won't criticize that. Tokenized for everyone, says Lindsay Weber. This chick over here, Lindsay Weber, the problem with her? She is literally the opposite of Tolkien. She wants the series to match the modern world. Yeah, it's like, really? Because everything has to be the modern world. What? I never really understood the importance of representation until a woman with Asian heritage told me she broke down crying when she saw another Asian actor in Lake Town. Okay, referring to a town in Jackson's Hobbit trilogy. For a story she loved so much, it as if she finally had a place in Middle Earth. Oh my goodness, these people cannot live in a real world. If these people can't take fantasy properly, how do you think they live in this real world? Forget about the fantasy. Forget about the freaking fantasy. Forget about that. Focus on the real world. If these people do not see something like you, someone that looks like them. Wait, let me restart. Let me backtrack and say what I supposed to say. I messed up that sentence. If these people do not see themselves, they're basically the same skin tone on a different person, they can't handle it. If they can't handle it in a freaking fantasy, how they can survive in this real world? The world is filled with people from different backgrounds, not just skin tones, different countries, different stories to tell. The world is full of it, so much of interesting individuals, and the problem is these people just want everyone to look the same. I don't give a crap if someone looks like me. I could care less. I've seen plenty of people that look like me, and I disagree with them on many things. Just because they look like you doesn't mean it's gonna be like you, 100% like you. These people, most of them, I guess, they just fall for this stuff. I don't want to see. I just don't want to see. Oh, okay, a brown character. Oh, this character is me now apparently because what? Because I'm brown, I must now relate to the character. No, it doesn't work that way. You know, the fact that these can't watch a show with different skin tones proves that they are the ones projecting it on the fans, projecting their racism on the fans. Enough about this. It's time to read some Babylon Bee. I'm going to drink some water. I have to cross my room just to get the water. Be right back. And here's the thing. People have the right to gatekeep their series because SJW invaders, they first come in like normal people. They realize something isn't so perfect for them. They then complain about the fans being bigoted. They force the company to change stuff. They force them to change stuff. For what? Oh, because they're offended. You know what happens? You know what happens next? You know what happens next? They forget about what they were complaining about and move on to the next fresh meat. That's what happens most of the time. Bowing down to them is a pointless thing. I need to show you this. Because it's kind of sad. It really is sad. But obviously, this is the modern uh, people. Look at this. Lost Ark's depiction of female characters decade out of date. Now, the Lost Ark is basically this game. I don't really know that much about it. There's a big history with this game. I don't know that much about it, okay? Not really my type of thing. It's a MMO RPG. I don't really have anything to play with it. It's my thing. It's free to play. If you want to play with it, hey, if you want to play with it, heads up, it's free to play. But I'm not going to play with it. I'm so addicted to Monster Hunter, it's very hard for me to change and try something else. Now, basically, let this load. They were saying that the female characters feel out of date because they walk with more ip, and the outfits they wear is very basically showy. And I want to point out one important thing. These people are full-blown progressives. They are full-blown progressives. We're talking about this stuff, short stuff like this, showing legs in a fictional world. And you may be thinking, why are they complaining about it? Because that's what they do. They have been complaining about stuff like this for years. Censor this, censor that because it shows too much skin. When the male character shows skin, no one complains about that. But it's only when these female characters show skin, it's apparently a problem, you know? It's like we gotta cover them up head to toe. I don't get why the progressives, these super progressive people, were totally fine with women, real life women dressing up like this. But in a fictional world, they can't stand this. I have seen women wear shorter than stuff, by the way, very short stuff. Okay, I'm not joking, you know. So that's not a problem. But okay, a fictional world that doesn't exist, okay, that's a problem. How dare they dress up like this? It's sad, it really is sad, because if you want to make a good female character, or any sexy characters, man, it's totally fine to make a man character that's sexy. No one will complain. But when it comes to the females, it's gonna be a big complaint fest, because we gotta cover them up head to toe. We got to basically not let them show skin. They complain about that. They say it's a decade out of date. Basically, what they're trying to say is that last couple decades ago, or maybe last decade, some people will say even earlier than last decade, uh, that these type of characters were allowed. What does that say about progress? What does that tell you about these progressive people? What does it tell you about these people? For one, they're offended by a video game. Two, they don't want females to look sexy in a video game. If you have a male character, that's totally fine. That character can look sexy as possible. They won't give a crap. But when you have a character like this, end of the world, I guess. You know? And they trying to go around by complaining about this as if it's the biggest problem in the world right now, you know? Because it shows legs. It sucks because these people, I bet you these people long ago would complain about Christians complaining about women dressing up scantily. I bet you they will be complaining about the Christians complaining. But now they become the very same thing, the purists. They become so pure about covering up things, you know? But only in a fictional world. We're not talking about the real world. We're talking about fiction, okay? We're not talking about the real world. We are talking about complete fiction. Like these girls, they just exist in a video game. That's it. That's it, you know? And if a woman dresses up like this in real life, the woke people, they clap about it. They say it's good, slay, and everything like that. But in a video game, they find it very offensive, and they want it immediately. Look at this, so much of a leg, you know. That's offensive. That's offensive. It's offensive. Okay, we got to change everything. There's also this strange walk the females did, and they got, you know, people were angry about that because the females walked with more hip. And here's the thing. Now, some people may disagree with me on this, but did you know the game, what's it called? Horizon Zero, where they made the female character even uglier than the previous game? You know that game? Horizon Zero West? That game? Yeah. I think they have every right to make the female character ugly. It's their vision. I don't like what they were doing, but it's their vision. They have the right to do whatever they want when it comes to their video games. Simple as that, right? Simple as that. Yes, we know they have an agenda behind why they're doing it. They literally changed the female main character and made her a bit more ugly because they felt like if she was too pretty, she could break a nail. And this was what they were saying, you know. This wasn't someone random saying this. This was someone who worked with the game. They said this. They literally said if you look too pretty, you could break a nail. It looks like you could break a nail. Yeah, we're talking about a video game character. Break a nail for being too pretty. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? And it's like many woke people who obviously hate sexism. They're totally fine with sexism. We all know it's not about hypocrisy, it's hierarchy. If they say a rat is a cat, then to them, it's a cat. And you have to listen to them. It's hierarchy. It's not hypocrisy, it's hierarchy, okay? They don't believe in equality. They never did. Let's be real for a second, okay? We're talking about people that's not like the old left that fought for, civil rights. We're talking about people who want segregation back, okay? Like, these people don't want equality. They just want censorship and their dominance. So anyways, for them, equality is just a word, basically a buzzword at this point, because it doesn't mean anything to them. It does not mean anything to them whatsoever. So basically, this is the walk. I don't think you can see it because my screen is going to be so bad.
True as a forgotten city.
Let's play that again if you didn't see it. Basically, a hip. Go away. Let me see this full screen. A hip is moving very fast, like left to right. Look at that. It's moving in this angle that's very, very exaggerated. Yes, in a video game, exaggerated. Okay. It's hard to point out how crazy it is, but look, Horizon Zero West, they can make their characters as ugly as possible. We know there's a reason why they made them ugly, because they believe pretty girls can't fight. That's the reason why. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They have the right to do that, okay? I have the right to make my female characters as pretty as possible, okay? Just remember that. Just remember that. If they make their characters ugly, so what? So what? I'm gonna make my characters pretty, and they can't be complaining. Creators can decide what they want to do, as they always say. It's the creator's vision. This is what they said, by the way. And once again, they flip-flop. They flip-flop. It's the creator's vision. They can create whatever they want. And that's true. Let them create whatever they want, and I'll create whatever I want. And let the people decide what type of games they want to buy. My games or their games, okay? My comics or their comics, But anyways, going back to Horizon Zero West, as I said, there was an agenda by making the character ugly. But if that's totally fine, if you can accept the ugly character, you can also accept the beautiful character as well. Simple as that. Enough about this anger, I'm tired of that. Russia withdraws from borders but leaves behind a beautiful wooden horse as a gift. Tell 10 great alternatives to supporting woke companies. Okay. 10 great alternatives. Let me hear it. I'm tired of woke companies as well. Now, I know some of y'all don't really care that much about video games, but I hope I at least brought some light upon the video game industry, because currently in the Western video game industry, they want the characters to be ugly as possible. That's right. They want the characters to be ugly as possible. And obviously because they believe pretty girls can't be fighting in a video game, which is ridiculous. But that's what they believe. Now, we can have an alternative to that, which is obviously make our own stuff. And that's it, 10 great alternatives to supporting woke companies. We have this guy, we have Oreos, we have Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, M&Ms. Watch out, every company you have loved has become woke. Yes, if you want to avoid supporting progressive businesses, then you need to be prepared. Okay, instead of Twitter, use Truth Social for 3 weeks before Trump cans it, then go back to Twitter. Instead of brewing your coffee with Starbucks beans, use Goya beans. Instead of Levi's, buy pants made for grown-ups. Oh, that's a roast. Instead of Gillette razors, grow a beard like a man. Instead of Microsoft, mine your own silicon, build a computer from scratch, and program an OS in painstaking binary. You know what? You know something? They always say that. Make your own stuff. You don't like it? Make your own stuff. That's what Orange Man did. He made his own social media. I don't know how long before the woke people infiltrated and shove it with their disgusting stuff. Uh, that's what they did with Getter, by the way, when they found out Trump was on it. They basically infiltrated and they shoved all these type of woke, disgusting pictures and images on that site. Instead of buying books from Amazon, buy a Gutenberg press and print leaflets. Buy them together with leather from the cattle you slaughter. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You know what? Those days back in the day sounds much better, much more fun to make a book than how it is now. But to be fair, now it's much more easier to make a book. Okay. Uh, Instead of subscribing to Disney Plus, just let your children scream, scream, and scream. Or you can buy physical copies of stuff. You know, when I was a kid, we only had like 4 channels on television, and they barely showed any cartoons. Like maybe like around 8 to 10, they would show stuff for children on one channel, and maybe towards the afternoon, like 5 o'clock, they would show cartoons, and that's it. That's literally it. But they would normally show like anime 5 o'clock. So yeah, like still, I would watch that most of it, and that was it for children basically. That was just it. You know, we never had so much of cartoons or whatever. So what we had to do was use DVDs. We collected DVDs as children, and we watched them over and over. You know. We read that. Instead of buying my books from, okay, I read that. Wow, I'm skipping so much. Instead of buying Nike shoes, go to China and get your own slave to make some shoes. Everyone's doing it. Instead of watching Netflix, use your parents' account to watch Netflix. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. But I won't use Netflix. Instead of using Facebook, go to your high school reunion and listen to people you don't remember pitch pyramid schemes. It's an almost identical experience. To be fair, that sounds true. You know, I never passed high school, so I don't think I can ever be invited to a high school reunion. You know, I never finished high school. You know, I never did. So I know that sounds strange for some people, but I never finished it. Obviously, um, there were reasons why I never finished it, but I stopped after grade 9. You know, so that was it. You know, that was back in 2017 was my last year of school. It's insane. Supreme Court approves death penalty for people who use leaf blowers before 8 a.m. Biden admin sends OSPAC border patrol with whoops to support Canadian police. Putin delays invasion again as he has a dentist appointment today and is already scheduled twice. After legitimizing China, International Olympics Committees narrows down choice for next Olympics. US to invade Canada to establish a democracy. Deranged sociopaths show up on time. Okay, I read that. Okay. Anyways, this was a very fun stream. I just wanted to get some thoughts out. You know, it is sometimes very lonely. You know, I know it sounds strange, but it's a very lonely thing. I'm gonna work on my books now. Maybe eat something. I don't know. I don't know if I should eat. Maybe I should just go have a bath. I'm sweating like a pig. Okay, then I'll eat and then I'll work on my books. Which will be great. Which will be great. You know? Yesterday, as I said on my post, my YouTube post, I mentioned that I had 3 rewrites of one specific scene in my horror book. And the reason why was because I never felt satisfied